Hi, my name is Savannah Yakubovsky, and I'm going to be speaking to y'all today about ADHD. ADHD is usually diagnosed around childhood, and it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. ADHD usually causes impulsiveness, inattentiveness, hyperactivity, actions, so you're always like, woo, let's go party. But this can cause problems with academic and occupational issues and social issues as well, where you have no focus, you're overactive, and little to no control in your behavior and actions. You're usually diagnosed with ADHD when you're out of range in your age group and your behavior isn't where it should be. There's a strong genetic element in ADHD. It has to do with your neurotransmitters in your brain. The part of your brain is not as developed as it should be. It usually runs in families when one or both parents has the disorder, and 1/3 of all mothers and fathers can say that when they had kids, their children have ADHD too. But despite popular belief and my mom's belief, ADHD is not caused by watching too much TV. They did a study about it, and they had kids go home after school and watch TV, and they would study them, and they didn't have ADHD after that, unless they already had it. Some other possible causes of ADHD are in your actions, whether it be your mother's prenatal actions, if she possibly smoked or did drugs or drank while she was pregnant, and you might have a higher chance of getting ADHD. That's just a possibility of it slowing down the dopamine levels in your brain and causing your nerve cells and attention span to not be as developed as it should be. Also, if you had a low birth rate or difficulties during pregnancy, that will also help out with you having ADHD. But when young kids are exposed to lead, paint, PCBs such as pesticides, that also affects the brain. But 30 to 70% of children with ADHD tend to carry their symptoms through adulthood, and they don't actually get rid of their ADHD as a child. ADHD affects the brain by having abnormally functioning nerve pathways in your brain, and that's just your dopamine receptors, or you have a variation in the DRD4 gene. But part of your brain is smaller or less active than the others, so the lower dopamine levels affect your sleep, attention span, and your learning ability and your mood. Children with the variation of the DRD4 gene tend to have a higher IQ than some kids without the variations, so go team. But they also showed that their ADHD improved over time. Adults with ADHD tend to have slower dopamine receptors throughout their life, and that doesn't go away. So they usually take Ritalin or Adderall, which are stimulants for slow dopamine levels in the brain. But taking these medicines as an adult puts you at a higher risk for drug abuse because nicotine and cocaine, they temporarily increase the dopamine activity in your brain, which is why you can be at a higher risk for drug abuse. Some symptoms of ADHD may stop when you hit adulthood, and you're good if that happens, but if not, you tend to continue taking your medicine, but if you don't, you'll usually have a difficulty concentrating, following directions, organizing tasks, completing work on time, and remembering information. These can cause emotional, social, vocational, academic, and behavioral problems in your actions. Some side effects of ADHD include anxiety, chronic boredom, lateness, forgetfulness, depression, issues with reading, problems controlling your anger, employment issues, impulsiveness, low frustration tolerance, low self-esteem, mood swings, poor organization skills, procrastination problems, issues with relationships, and substance abuse or addiction. These things may vary. They may all be present. They may not all be present. It just depends case to case. You can be overly social or very antisocial and just closed off, and you don't want to talk to anybody ever. But that's generally not the case. You're usually very social. Me, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was in elementary school. My parents were wondering why I was fighting and so social in classes. I was always talking during classes, not really paying attention, and getting in trouble for that. And so my mom took me to a counselor, and she had me play with these blocks with numbers and letters on them. And I was like, hey, blocks, this is fun. And I didn't think anything of it, but she was really testing my attention span. Turns out I don't have a very high one. So she put me on Vyvanse, and it's supposed to help me control that, where I'm focused and just straight to the point, gotta work, gotta do this stuff right now. But the Vyvanse affects my mood very drastically. I can be a not very nice person when I'm on my medicine, or I can be the most nice person you've ever met. I'm very direct and to the point, but it also kills my appetite to where I can't eat, or I feel sick if I do eat, and it gives me horrible headaches, but that's just the side effects, I guess. But hopefully within time, my ADHD will get better. Thank y'all.